On the news tonight, federal government reaffirms President Bola Tinubu's commitment to local government autonomy. Director General of World Trade Organization charges Niger Delta Development Commission to provide sustainable solution to challenges bedeviling the state. National Identification Management Commission debunks claim of service disruption of National Identification Number Verification Portal. And abroad, President Donald Trump intensifies trade war with threat of 30% tariffs on European Union and Mexico. Hello there. A warm welcome to Delta Television Main News. I am Tony Eluaka. The federal government has reaffirmed President Bola Tinubu's commitment to local government autonomy as a fundamental step towards deepening democracy and driving development at the grassroots. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, gave the assurance when he received members of the National Forum of Ex-Councillors in Abuja. The minister said the president was focused on ensuring the full implementation of local government autonomy in line with constitutional provisions. He noted that the removal of fuel subsidy and the unification of foreign exchange rate had led to significant savings for the government, which had resulted in increased allocations to both state and local governments to fund development projects. Mr. Idris highlighted the creation of development commissions in all geopolitical zones as part of the administration's inclusive development strategy. The Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, says there cannot be effective governance at the local government level without full autonomy. He stated, while speaking to journalists after casting his ballot in the Lagos State local government elections in Surulere, asked about his view on the implementation of the local government autonomy ruling by the Supreme Court exactly 1 year ago. But Gbajabiamila said it is a work in progress and it would be perfected with time. In July 2024, the Supreme Court granted autonomy to all the 774 local government areas in the country, following a suit filed by the federal government through the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, but the judgment is yet to be fully implemented. The Senate had, after the judgment last year, asked the state and local government to immediately comply with the Supreme Court judgment, particularly relating to local government accounts and the funds given directly to them. The Senate also resolved to take immediate steps to alter sections of the Consultation and Constitution to give full autonomy to local government administration in the country. The resolution was announced by the Deputy State Senate President, Senator Jibrin Baru. Lawmakers reconvened for a closed-door session where the chamber debated attempt by some state governments to circumvent the ruling of the Supreme Court on July 11. The federal government has said about 161 million Nigerians are food insecure as it intensifies efforts to avert an impending food and nutrition crisis. The Director of the Nutrition and Food Safety Department, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Nuhu Kilishi, said this during a stakeholders consultative meeting on the development of a food and nutrition security crisis preparedness plan in Abuja. He said, plan is a spin-off of the Accelerating Nutrition Results in Nigeria, ANRIN project, a state-led World Bank-funded initiative in years. He noted that banditry, kidnapping, and insecurity has significantly reduced farm sizes and driven many away from agricultural production, adding that the crisis prices of food inputs and commodities have also made it difficult for thousands of households to afford health diets. Mr. Kilishi noted that the government develops targeted strategies to address the challenge. The federal government has continued to bolster its criminal justice system securing convictions for 44 out of 54 individuals recently arraigned in Phase 7 of the Kainji Detention Facility terrorism trial. This was contained in a statement by Mr. Michael Abu, Head of Strategic Communication, National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, NCTC, ONSA in Abuja. Mr. Abu said the remaining 10 cases were adjourned during proceedings held across 4 courts, presided over by 4 Federal High Court justices. He said the country had, with the recent 44 convictions, secured a total of 785 cases involving terrorism, financing and other terrorism-related offenses. This, according to him, reflects the country's intensified effort to combat violent extremism, dismantle funding networks, and strengthen national security through judicial enforcement. Mr. Abu said that 237 cases were heard, resulting in 200 convictions in the Phase 6 trials, adding that the convicted terrorists received a range of sentences based on the severity of their crimes, from the death penalty and life imprisonment to prison terms of 20 to 70 years. He said their offenses included heinous acts such as attacks on women and children, the destruction of religious sites, the killing of civil servants, civilians, and the abduction of women and children during a brutal assault on the Jina Karakai community in Borno State. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, has described the impact of corruption on national development as a direct assault on human dignity and a fundamental violation of human rights. Mr. Fagbemi said this at a seminar organized by the Interagency Task Team of Anti-Corruption Agencies to commemorate this year's African Anti-Corruption Day in Abuja. Said corruption remained one of the gravest threats to national development, democracy, and justice. The event was themed Effective Whistleblower Protection Mechanism, a critical tool in the fight against corruption. The minister, represented by the Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Beatrice Jedieba, said acts of corruption have devastating human consequences. Mr. Fagbemi's remarks came against a backdrop of recent corruption scandals, growing scrutiny of public office holders in Nigeria, and anti-corruption efforts by Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He stressed that misappropriation of funds for education robs future generations of opportunity, while corruption within the justice system erodes the principle of equality before the law. The minister called for stronger protection of whistleblowers and investigative journalists, who he said are essential to the fight against corruption and in promoting transparency and accountability in public service. He emphasized that anti-corruption efforts must remain rooted in respect for the rule of law and due process, warning that the law enforcement should not infringe upon civil liberties. The Director General of the World Trade Organization WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has called on the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC to provide sustainable solutions to the economic challenges currently bedeviling the Niger Delta. Her advice comes as the oil-producing region suffers from environmental degradation from decades of oil and gas exploration. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who was critical in her choice of words while delivering her address during the celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Commission on Saturday, said the neglect of the socio-economic prosperity of the region has resulted in widespread frustration, which has culminated in restiveness among the people. She called on the NDDC to give special attention to the economic development of the Niger Delta. Unprecedented oil spillage, which has been ongoing for the past 5 decades, have made the region one of the most polluted in the country. The heavy contamination of the air, ground and water with toxic pollutants is often used as an example of ecocide. It is a while the European Union experienced 10 incidents of oil spills in 40 years, Nigeria recorded 9,343 cases within 10 years. The resultant environmental degradation from gas flaring, the dredging of larger rivers, oil spillage and reclamation of land due to oil and gas extraction across the Niger Delta region cost about $758 million every year. Regrettably, born of the local communities through polluted water, infertile farmland and lost biodiversity. Experts estimated that the region could experience a loss of over 40 million its habited terrain in the next 30 years as a result of extensive dam construction. The Chief of Defense Staff CDS, General Christopher Musa, has announced the establishment of Sector 4 of Operation Haidin-Kai OPHK in Mubi, Adamawa in a bid to sustain counter-terrorism in the northeast. In a statement by the Director, Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukoroguso in Abuja, the CDS announced this during an operational visit to the state and interface with Governor Ahmadu Fintiri. The CDS said his visit was aimed at assessing the operational readiness of troops and identify areas that required additional support. He highlighted the strong link between development and security, adding that when citizens benefit directly from governance, they were more likely to support and protect the system. General Musa identified poverty and illiteracy as major drivers of insecurity, pointed out that vulnerable populations were more easily recruited into insurgent groups. He also commended the people of Adamawa for maintaining relative peace in spite of security challenges across the state. The CDS told troops within the operational area that plans were on to construct additional barracks and increase military presence in the state. He thanked the troops for their resilience, sacrifice and unwavering commitment, urging them to continue their effort in identifying and neutralizing criminal elements. The CDS also commended the officers and soldiers of 23 Brigade for improved peace and stability in the state. In his response, Governor Fintiri expressed the state government's commitment to supporting the armed forces with logistics, strategy and tactical resources to boost their ongoing operations. Fintiri noted that a robust military presence may have been responsible for uptick in various activity within the state. He also thanked the CDS for establishing Sector 4 in the state. The governor also disclosed that he had directed that all roles in Gibson Jalo Barracks to be rehabilitated and more recruitment of local hunters to support the military in combating insecurity in the state. The Nigeria Customs Service has said importers and their agents are not required to pay to migrate from the Nigeria Integrated Customs Information System (NICIS) to platform to Odogu Trade Management System. The service spokesperson, Mr. Abdullahi Meiwada, said in a statement in Abuja. Mr. Meiwada said the service received widespread misconceptions about such payment, which he described as false, misleading, and completely unfounded. He said that only importers and agents whose bills of lading, board, or manifest had already been transmitted to Odogu, but whose Form M was originally registered on NICIS, too were required to make another submission. He explained that they were required to submit a soft copy of the existing Form M to the Technical Supervisor TS in their command of operation. According to Mr. Meiwada, the submission would enable the service to carry out the necessary migration at no cost to the trader. The spokesperson urged stakeholders to disregard any person or group demanding payment under the guise of facilitating Form M migration, which was in contrast with its ideals of operations. He said such practices were not only illegal but also undermined the service's commitment to transparency and trade facilitation. He advised those affected to report such misconduct through official NCIS site. The Kebbi State Police Command has launched a fresh crackdown on unauthorized use of sirens, tinted vehicle glasses, unregistered vehicles, and fake or covered number plates across the state. The police, in a statement, said the directive was in line with the ongoing national campaign against the abuse of diplomatic and special number plate, as well as the illegal use of vehicle accessories meant only for top public office holders and emergency services. The command highlighted that only the following categories were permitted by law to use sirens: the President and Vice President, leadership of the National Assembly, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, state governors and their deputies, as well as the military, police, paramilitary, agencies, fire service, ambulances, and bullion vans with escort. The command reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining law and order, urging residents to report suspicious movement and illegal activities to the nearest police station. The National Identity Management Commission has said its National Identification Number Verification Portal is working, despite complaints by telecom subscribers and operators about continued service disruption. Many Nigerians in recent weeks have expressed frustration over their inability to retrieve their phone numbers or complete SIM-related services due to what they describe as a prolonged downtime on the NIMC verification platform. In Africa's most populous nation, SIM swap requires verifying your identity, typically by linking your NIN. This helps prevent fraud and unauthorized access to your mobile line. The disruption, which began the previous week, lingered through the weekend even after NIMC announced that its services had been restored. The agency advised Nigerians seeking to enroll for NIN to visit its website to locate the nearest enrollment center and encourage the public to use its self-service portal for data modifications. NIMC also urged users to download its Name Oath app, available on the Google Play Store and Apple Play Store, to verify and authenticate their NINs. Despite these assurances, mobile users continue to face difficulties in accessing basic telecom services linked to NIN verification, particularly SIM replacement. You're watching Delta Television Main News. Still to come, President Trump intensifies trade war with threats of 30% tariffs on European Union and Mexico. Details on this story and more after this short break. Please stay with us. Waiting they hear different.
Pipe wey carry fuel for underground burst. Wetin you go do? You go begin bail fuel put for your bucket, or you go run comot far for where the fire go soon come. Na only small time you get to take this wise decision. Waka comot. No, that one no dey enough. Shift. No, that one no dey enough. Stay there dey gist and take pictures with your phone. That na madness. Run. Yes, run comot. Yes, your life depend on wetin you do. The fire go come at once and you no go fit control am. Why? Petrol dey catch fire easily. Why? Na just small spark go start big fire. So no stay there dey think. Run comot quick to save your life. No throw away your life away because of say you wan pack petrol. Take this advice. This informate
na from Public Enlightenment Office, Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba.
From a rough underdeveloped stretch to a fully completed bridge, this transformation didn't happen by chance.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is O.
Governor Sheriff prioritized this project, ensuring work moved at a steady pace. I visited the site a couple of times, even took a tour with my sister, which by the way was very interesting when it was still under construction. And each time I saw real progress, with multiple sites visits from the governor, close monitoring, and relentless effort from the construction team. The Ebu Bridge, part of the Ugeli Asaba Actualization project, is now standing strong. A project that once felt like work in progress is now a reality. Of course, this shows Governor Sheriff's commitment to making travel easier and safer for everyone. Yes, he has shown that he is committed to building bridges and connecting communities.
You're welcome back. You're watching the Delta Television Main News. The global scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
President Donald Trump today said major U.S. trading partners, Mexico and the European Union, will face a 30% tariff starting next month, wrapping up pressure for this in his trade wars. Both sets of duties will take effect August 1st. President Trump said in separate letters posted to his Truth Social platform, citing Mexico's role in illicit drugs flowing into the United States and a trade imbalance with the EU. Since returning to the presidency in January, President Trump has unleashed sweeping tariffs on allies and competitors alike, roiling financial markets and raising fears of a global economic downturn. But his administration is coming under pressure to secure deals with trading partners after promising a flurry of agreements. So far, US officials have only unveiled 2 pacts with Britain and Vietnam, alongside temporarily lower TikTok for duties with China. The fresh duties for Mexico announced by Mr. Trump will be higher than the 25% levy he imposed Mexican goods earlier this year, although products entering the United States under the US-Mexico-Canada agreement are exempted. The EU tariff is also markedly steeper. than the 20% levy Mr. Trump unveiled in April as negotiations with the bloc continue. Cameroon will hold a presidential election on October 12, a decree signed by the Central African nation's president, Paul Biya. The vote will decide who will lead the cocoa and oil producing nation of nearly 30 million for the next 7 years. Presidential hopefuls must submit their applications within 10 days after the Electoral College is convened as mandated by the Electoral Code. Biya, the world's oldest serving head of state at 92, came to power more than 4 decades ago in 1982. He has not said whether he plans to seek another term. He won in 2018 with 71.28% of the vote, according to official results, although the opposition and several independent observers reported widespread irregularities. Constitutional reforms in 2008 scrapped presidential term limits, allowing him to run indefinitely.
Nigerian Medical Association NMA has accused the federal government of attempts to plunge members into abject poverty and slavery by subjecting them to work over 72 hours without commensurate pay. The NMA chairman, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, Mr. Inekan Peter, who made the claims at a press conference in Uyo, regretted that Nigeria pays the least salary to doctors in the world, noting that the Nigerian doctors are now run to Ghana, Togo, Liberia, even Cameroon to practice where they are taken care of. Dr. Peter, who lamented the rate of brain drain in the health sector, said that out of 85,000 registered medical practitioners in Nigeria, only 55,000 is left, and called on the federal government to employ more medical personnel, improve their welfare package, and equip health facilities to address the issue. He also expressed concern that despite the federal government's inability to cater for the welfare needs of its doctors, President Tinubu has decided to send Nigerian doctors to St. Lucia, and the government is to pay them 3 million naira, while doctors back home are taking home a paltry 300,000 naira only. Reading a communique endorsed by the chapter secretary, Dr. Edisiri Eigodaje, at the end of the emergency extraordinary general meeting in Uyo, Peter hinted at the 21-day ultimatum already issued by the National Officer Committee of the Association in response to circular from the National Salaries and Wages Commission. He said the association in the state had rejected the circular on the review of allowances for medical and dental officers and had made submission to the 19th presented by the NOC, the federal government. Other demands, according to the chairman, include immediate correction of consequential adjustment in line with the agreement of 2001, 2009 and 2014 CBAs, immediate correction of the relativity agreement between the CONMES and CONHES, and immediate settlement of all outstanding arrears of the 25 to 35 on-MES clinical duty and agreement allowances owed to medical and dental practitioners. Dr. Peter expressed fear that if their demands are not met, the healthcare sector will continue to suffer as many health officers are ready to leave Nigeria for greener pastures. Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja for Sao Tome, capital of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, to represent President Bola Tinubu at the island nation's 50th independence anniversary celebration. Senator Shettima will join other African leaders and dignitaries at the grand finale of the Golden Jubilee, which commemorates Sao Tome and Principe's independence from Portuguese colonial rule in 1975. This celebration features a series of high-level engagement, military parades, cultural displays, and traditional performances reflecting the country's heritage, resilience, and unity. Nigeria, Sao Tome, and Principe Joint Development Authority, which manages their shared joint development zone in the resource-rich Gulf of Guinea. Beyond oil and gas cooperation, Nigeria had extended technical support and humanitarian aid to Sao Tome over the years, including during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Vice President is expected back in the country after the conclusion of the event. The federal government has announced on Monday, July 14, as the official date for the commencement of recruitment into 4 paramilitary agencies under the Federal Ministry of Interior. The Minister of Interior and Chairman of the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board, CDCFIB, Dr. Olubumi Tunjiojo, made the disclosure through the board secretary, retired Major General Abdul Malik Jibrin, in a communique in Abuja. According to the statement, the recruitment portal will open on Monday, July 14, for applications into the Nigerian Correctional Service (NCOs), Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS), Federal Fire Service (FFS), and Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC). The statement urged applicants to avoid fraudsters and assure that the process will be transparent and seamless, in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. It said disciplinary action had been taken against 224 personnel across the paramilitary agencies for various infractions, noting that sanctions ranging from dismissal and compulsory retirement to warnings, loss of seniority, rejection of appeals, and exoneration. The 2026 pre-promotion interview for officers on salary grade levels 5 to 10 has been scheduled. A statement signed by the Director of Public Communication and functioning Permanent Secretary, Mr. Harold Oji, said the officers who are due for promotion from 1st January to July 2026 in the General Executive, Store Officer, Official Reporter, Lecturer, Instructors, Confidential Secretary, Secretary Assistant, and Clerical Storekeeper cadres are to attend the exercise. The statement said the officers on salary grade levels 5 to 7 is scheduled for Tuesday, 15 July 2025, and officers on salary grade levels 8 to 10 on Wednesday, 16 July. It also added that there will be a mop-up exercise on Thursday through Friday 18th. According to the statement, officers concerned should be at the Directorate of Establishment and Pension, Personnel Department, Office of the Head of Service, Governor's Office, Asaba, at 10 a.m. each day. It enjoined participating officers to come with the original copies with credentials and documents that would help they determine their eligibility for the promotion. And now to sports. Let's join our sports news desk for happenings in the world of sports.
Warri Wolves have emerged champions of the Nigerian National League (NNL) 2024-2025 season following a hard-fought 3-2 victory against Wiki Tourists of Bauchi at the Stephen Keshi International Stadium, Asaba. The Seasiders will reach the final following a 2-1 win over Crown Football Club of Ogbomoso on March 3 of the NNL Super 8, crowned their promotion to the Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) with the title. Warri Wolves fired 3 quick goals in the first half, courtesy of goals from Abdulateef Yusuf, who opened scoring 7 minutes before Ibunu Eweruoma doubled the lead in the 18th minute off a swift pass from Abdulateef Yusuf. The Seasiders extended the lead in the 25th minute through Shemaye Amatisiro, who knocked in another curly pass from Yusuf to put the game beyond the reach of Wiki Tourists. Wiki Tourists pulled one back through Mahmoud in the 35th minute as the Bauchi-based side gradually crawled back into the game before the end of the first half. Wiki Tourists came out in the second half firing on all cylinders as Wonderson Babas reduced the deficit to 1 goal. But all effort to equalize proved abortive as Warri Wolves head on to a 3-2 victory to lift the 2024-2025 NNL title, while Abdulateef Yusuf finished as the most valuable player of the tournament, with Wonderson Babas emerging as the highest goal scorer. The State Deputy Governor Samonde Onyeme presented trophies and medals to the players and officials. Warri Wolves, Wiki Tourists, Barau FC and Cool Califat FC have gained promotion to the NPFL.
That's our news. Now to a thought for the day. Don't count your friends until you need them. To end the Delta Television main news, here are the highlights. The federal government has reaffirmed President Bola Tinubu's commitment to local government autonomy as a fundamental step towards deepening democracy and driving development in the grassroots. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, gave the assurance when he received members of the National Forum of Ex-Councillors in Abuja. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has called on the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to provide sustainable solutions to the economic challenges currently bedeviling the Niger Delta. Her advice comes as the oil-producing region suffers from environmental degradation from decades of oil and gas exploration. The National Identity Management Commission has said its National Identification Number Verification Portal is working, despite complaints by telecom subscribers and operators about continued service disruption. Many Nigerians in recent weeks have expressed frustration over their inability to retrieve their phone numbers or complete SIM-related services due to what they describe as a prolonged downtime on the NIMSI verification platform. And abroad, President Donald Trump on Saturday said major U.S. trading partners, Mexico and the European Union, would face a 30% tariff starting next month, ramping up pressure for deals in his trade wars. Both sets of duties would take effect August 1, Trump said in separate letters posted to his Truth Social platform, citing Mexico's role in illicit drugs flowing into the United States and a trade imbalance with the EU, respectively. And that's the size of our package for tonight. On behalf of the production team, I am Tony Eluaka. Have a good evening.